As the United Nations Security Council's debate on Ukraine got underway, Nigeria condemned in very strong terms the recent capture of observers from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. President of the Security Council for the month of April and Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Professor Joy Ogu, lamented the deteriorating situation, especially in parts of eastern and southern Ukraine.
Dear colleagues, the clock is ticking. Ukraine is the patient. This council and the international community constitute the surgical team. Let us stabilize and restore the patient to health, or many more might bleed. It is a collective responsibility.
The United Nations Under-Secretary for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, had earlier described the situation in Ukraine as alarming, calling for urgent attention.
On 27 April, Hennady Kernes, the mayor of Kharkiv, was shot in the back by unknown assailants. He remains in critical condition. On the same day, self-declared separatists seized a local government building in Konstantinivka, also in Donetsk Oblast, while in Donetsk itself, a pro-unity rally turned violent when separatist elements reportedly attacked the group with clubs and chains. Also on 27 April in Kharkiv, clashes between about 400 opponents and 500 to 600 supporters of a unitary Ukraine broke out and resulted in a number of injuries. Madam President, distinguished members of the Council, what I just described are developments which have occurred only in the last 4 days. These developments should alarm us all.
The debate dwelt on the fact that the implementation of the Geneva Statement, an accord struck by Ukraine and Russia, had stalled as the parties had resorted to different interpretation of the agreement, which was designed to de-escalate tensions, demobilize militias, and vacating of seized government buildings.
We firmly reject Russia's attempts to validate its intentions and threats to use armed forces or to send so-called Russian peacekeepers into Ukraine. As a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, Russia should know better than to exploit the name of peacekeeping to cover up its aggressive expansionist aims. The onus is now on Russia to stop interfering in Ukraine's internal affairs and abandon its threats of use of force and fomenting unrest in Ukraine. Ukraine is doing its part to implement the Geneva Statement. It is time for Russia to live up to its own commitments and to reclaim respect for UN Charter and international law.
While appealing for a diplomatic and political solution to the crisis, the United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, Under-Secretary Jeffrey Feltman, and members of the Security Council implored influential parties to take action and show commitment towards putting the country on the trail of stability. From the United Nations headquarters in New York, Joy Usiago, NTA News.